We're still going to be looking at the NV-870 because I want to see if we can get the HiFi sound to work. But before we start touching that one, I have this thing, which is a National AG6400, because I think this is one that's in reasonable condition, and I want to try and make a tape that we can use to confirm the alignment of the 870. I don't have any commercial movie type VHS tapes. Everything is self-recorded, so I thought if I make a tape in this, a recording, and this has the HD or hi-fi sound, that we can then try it in the 870 and see what happens. But then I'm not convinced about the alignment of this either, because the tape that had the hi-fi sound on it that we played last time can't track on this with the tracking all the way to one end. It's only just getting there. So either that tape is very out of alignment, or this machine's out of alignment, or this one's out of alignment. So I'm not really sure what we can trust, but I've recorded some bars onto this tape, and we can then try it in this machine and see if we can get it close. And I've also put a 1 kHz tone in the hi-fi audio and recorded it onto here, so we should be able to confirm that the hi-fi audio works or not with a freshly recorded, fairly high quality tape. And the problem with this is that switch has gone bad, so the sound doesn't come through on both channels very well because there's a selector there, but you can hear it. So what I want to do first is we'll have a look at the alignment adjustment of this machine compared to the various tapes that I've got, and then we'll decide what to do. From the manual of this, they call it the confirmation of the envelope output, whereas in other places they would call it, for consumer machines, they call it tape interchangeability adjustment, where you're supposed to use the alignment tape to adjust the height of these posts to get the start and end position of the tracks correct. We'll try it on this machine and see what we can see, and then we'll move on to the NV-870 machine. To start off with, we've got to get access to some test points. It says there TP3007 and 3006 on this board here down in the corner, so we're going to have to take this apart in order to get to that. I thought this machine was a very good condition, fairly unused machine, because when I got it, it had basically dead, completely dead, and after a bit of fiddling around and measuring, I traced that back to dud motor driver for the loading motor, which means it couldn't do anything, no eject, or basically appeared dead. So I've put in a different one of those found one that was compatible enough in another machine and got that running. But when I looked at it today, it is pretty crusty around the capstan, so maybe it's not as fresh and new and unused as I thought. Am I making things up? Maybe it's this board I'm supposed to be looking at, because that's the servo stuff. I think I'm being misled. The video section in the service manual at the test point locations and the shape of the board looked like it was this one, but it's obviously not. Let's see if we can get this back together without wrecking something even more. Look, it says right there. We don't have to open up anything. Head switch and envelope. So those are the two test points we need to hook up to. Right, I got it hooked up there, and I'm playing this tape that we saw last time. It looks pretty bad. As the tracking gets turned all the way to the left, it gets better. Yeah, to the right, it gets bad. I think this machine is not so good. I'll try another tape. Just some random one that I was given. Let's see what that has. And then we'll try the one I recorded on this machine, which should be perfect-ish. Still, one is lower than the other. but that one seems to be tracked a lot better. That's interesting. There's a step in that waveform. I'm not sure that it's supposed to be like that. That indicates some problem with this machine. It's got a lot higher signal level. Perhaps we should try adjusting it so that this tape works best, and then see what that's like. Just for fun. Got this thing, which is some sort of security flat blade screwdriver thing, and that seems to fit the posts. Let's see what happens if we adjust these. Oh, we should be following the procedure, shouldn't we? Oh yeah, that's definitely worse. That's better because the waveform is straight, and yeah, the end is falling, so that's no good. Yeah, supposedly that's good. And the signal level just goes up and down a bit as you move the tracking from end to end, so that's supposedly good. Let's go back to this one now and see what that does. A bit offset, one head is stronger than the other. I wonder if that's from the machine it was recorded on being not so wonderful. It's a bit off to one side, isn't it? I don't know if there's anything you can do about that. I think it's just a facet of that recording. And we'll try the bars again. And maybe now we need to make new bars. It's a lot stronger. Perhaps we should make new bars after we've done this adjustment. We've just got one more tape to try. This one is supposedly a good tape. Super HiFi. Which means it should have thicker, like deeper oxide on it, so that the HiFi sound can get pushed right down into the tape. It doesn't get wrecked by the video signal. It's pretty low level. Yeah, that's pretty wonky. Again, they all get better when the tracking is turned all the way to the left, which suggests this machine's not the best. Anyway, I'm going to record some more bars now that we've adjusted it a bit, and then we'll try it in the NV-870 and see what it does. Yeah, it turns out this tape has hi-fi sound on it already, and I got it playing quite well on this machine by doing some adjustments, and the waveform is fairly straight. So that's good. So this is a good tape that we can test on the NV-870, and but I'll also make some bars on this other tape so we can check it. Let's check it recorded okay, just to make sure. I think this oscilloscope is on its last legs. It's the backlight again. Seems to be okay. It's got a pretty strong signal compared to those others. So if this doesn't work, then yeah. Let's move to the NV-870 now. Got the NV-870 here. Looking how to hook up the measurement. Got the RF output there, TP5001, this is chroma output. And this is on the head amp board, which is that. So TP1 there. But the head switching signal, which just comes in and then goes into pin 1 there, they don't seem to have a test point for that, which is a bit sad. They tell you that that's what it is over here on the block diagram, head switching input, but no test point. I think you've got to go to the board underneath to get the actual test point for that. So we're going to just attach it without a test point. It'll be on pin 13. The last pin, and nicely there's a ground there, so that's good. We'll try and clip onto there. Seems like that'll work. And the actual RF signal, that doesn't seem to be grounded very well, does it? That's better. Now the RF signal, use the actual ground, and that's on TP1. Now power this thing up. So let's try a tape and we'll see what happens. I guess we'll go straight to this new favorite HiFi audio tape and see if that does anything good for us. It's a bit wonky. Okay, it's not very good, is it? Let's try the color bars that I recorded and see what they do. Okay, that HiFi, it is. It's not very good HiFi. One channel's way louder than the other. Wonky, isn't it? But it's not making that clicking noise, so I guess when the recording is good, the HiFi audio in this machine does work. It's just that other recording we tried the other time was not very good. That's normal audio. You hear the tape hiss on that. Okay, so that signal's now a bit more stable at the beginning. Okay, so we've misaligned it to align it with our misaligned recording. So that's great. HiFi audio is not too bad. So that's weird that we tried to make a recording last time with that weird video camera and this playback sound was terrible. Maybe the tape wasn't good enough. Maybe it was a bad tape? Bad quality, not good enough for HiFi sound? Let's try this one. So something's messed up with this. It seems like the control track is... I don't know what's up with that. It's pretty weird. That played back pretty much perfectly in the other machine. The machine that just made that HiFi sound that we were listening to. The beeping noise. Okay, we'll try this one again, which is the original HiFi tape that we tested. You can see it's a bit off there, because it's really low.
See me initiating contact. Give up? The answer is an isosceles triangle plus rule 2, anyone?
Yeah, I think this tape is very misaligned. We can try and fix that. This tape is no good. Oh well. Let's try recording again with this machine and we'll see if it works better this time. We'll try on this tape because it's new. Yes, because this one proved that it was quite good. I'll just check that again just to make sure that we're not recording another misaligned thing. Still a bit concerned that the leading edge of the waveform where the switching pulse rises is too low there. Does that mean we need to make the other end lower to even it out? I don't think so. It means something else is messed up. Put that into pause mode. Put it into record pause. And then get out this video camera. Alright, let's record. It is recording. In theory? Oops. Oh, I pushed the button on the camera. That button which says play edit. So how do we make it go back to being normal now? Okay, it's being a camera now. Just gonna look at the test points there. And then over here we've got the oscilloscope and the camera that's pointing at it. Seems a very dull, colourless picture, doesn't it? Anyway, we'll record a bit of this and then we'll come back, we'll test it. Alright, let's try it. Pretty strong signal. Test points there. The head moving. Still a bit crusty, isn't it? I wonder if maybe it's... well, it's definitely loud enough. It has quite a bit of amplitude there. seems very dull, colourless picture, doesn't it? Anyway, we'll record a bit of this and then we'll come back see if the hi-fi sound works. So maybe it's a recording. No, the recording level was way too loud. I thought I'd put it on auto. Yeah, it's on auto gain control. Maybe we'll put it on manual and try that. We'll just try recording the bars on it. I think that will be easier, because that way the level can be set properly. The only problem is the function generator that makes the sound. It makes a fan noise, which is quite annoying. Yeah, we've got some nice noise now. I'll start recording, and then I'll mute this so we don't have to listen to it while it's recording. Alright, let's see how that recorded. One channel is way louder than the other. It's okay, it's not the best. There's something else slightly messed up about it. I wonder if we should try changing the HiFi audio PCB in this machine, just for fun, out of that donor machine, which we got the other parts out of, like these chips. Finish off just to see whether it has any effect on it. Slight sort of hissing that it's got, which is not the best. Right, let's change the HiFi audio board just to see whether that makes any difference. I've got the board to put in this machine. I don't think we should get our hopes up too much. It looks like all these lighter colored capacitors are going bad. There is crust on the legs there, and it's quite dark under it. And there's also a little bit of corrosion marks visible in the tracks there, all around where those capacitors are. A weird massive solder blob there. Corrosion marks around it. That's a shame. Well, we'll pull out the one from this machine and we'll see what it looks like, and then we'll do something. Means we're going to take it all apart again. All apart. Front, bottom, top. We're going to swing that main board out. Can't do it from the top because the chassis is in the way. Oh, we're going to have to undo these cables because they're too short. Alright, 3 red screws here. Now we can swing this board down or up. Now the board we're interested in is this one. Can we see? No, not from here. Get that one out. It's all warm. It's been running. What's the condition of this? Possibly worse? Ah yes, you can see green stuff on the legs there. Yeah, so this one might be worse, or it's at least as bad. There's quite a bit of corrosion on the tracks. So good, it means all the machines I got are probably on their last legs. So we better move on instead of stalling on this one and start looking at some of the other machines before it's too late. So we're putting the other board in fun so we can see what it does. Okay, let's just flex. And then the head signal, where's the cable? You can't see anything anyway. That's the signal coming off the head. Okay, let's fold this down, clip it in, and we'll see if this does any better or worse than the other one. Alright, let's try this. See what happens. Can we see our bars? Still got that kind of fluffy noise on it. We rewind back to the previous ones. Okay, here are the previous bars. It's about the same. It's just got a little bit of a... It's more or less perfect. More or less. It's not too bad. I don't know what's happened to this tape. It seems to be wrecked somehow. I don't know why that one doesn't seem to work in this machine. Very weird. And the original one, which we know isn't going to be very good.
Except for tonight, because someone we know...
If the math homework. Ruby, why can't we just do what we want and talk to...
Yeah, that one's never going to work because the alignment of it is no good. Okay, well let's try recording the bars for one last time. And we'll see what it does. Then we'll be done, because we got this VCR working, the HiFi sound is more or less going, the picture is pretty good, and it records and plays. don't think we really need to look into much more. What we need to look into is other dodgy machines and trying to get those to run just for fun. Because I've got the NV-850, which is a model, it's a taller one than this with similar features, and I've got 3 of those, so we'll play around with them. I know at least one of them has a problem quite similar to what this one is like, where just some random stuff is on the display and it doesn't really do anything. So we'll try to debug that. That should provide some interesting things to discover. At least with 2 other machines, we should have a good source of parts. And then we'll look at some other machines, because yeah, there's no shortage of VCRs to look at. And we need to get through them before the capacitors go too bad, as we've seen today with the dodgy caps on this, which is quite sad. But yeah, unless you want to replace every capacitor in the machine, there isn't really much you can do about it. Green in there. Yeah. I don't think it's worth it to replace several hundred capacitors all over all these boards in more than 100 VCRs. Maybe we can pick a few good ones to keep, but even then, the damage is already being done on them by the leaking that's already occurred. Okay, we'll check the bars. Well, there's a very slight fluttery, hissy noise in the background, but more or less it's working, and the picture is pretty good. Fairly clean, and the slow motion is also pretty good. Bars is not a very exciting things to be looking at, but there you go. So that concludes the National NV-870 VCR and various debugging and replacements. Let's move on to something else. I found it. As we can see on the screen there, I found a video recording of where my VCR collection used to be stored, or where part of it was stored. It was in the crawl space under the house because there was no room anywhere else at the time. And we can see right there on the screen, the third machine from the left is this one that we're looking at right now. I'd say this recording was done in, it's either in 97 or 98. So we can see it there, and then there's stacks of others right the way back there. Stacks of VCRs. Yes, this was lived under the house in the crawl space for, I don't know how long they were there. I don't think it was a huge amount, months maybe. So there you go, that's an exciting blast from the past. Didn't realize that that was documented until it was some years ago when I was looking over some of the machines and playing through random tapes, and yeah, that came up.